Welcome everybody, welcome to Duol podcast. I am Dr. Maggie and we are back again today to discuss a very interesting topic. It's about addiction unmasked. And Duol podcast is a forum, a platform that invites people from diverse fields, diverse professions to come and share their stories or share information that will help the society. Today we have an interesting visitor who she's going to introduce herself and she's going to tell us more about the addiction, which we are unmasking today. Karibu.
Thank you so much. My name is Suni Wendy. I'm a counseling psychologist, currently consulting for various organizations. I also like to say I'm a specialist in addiction management, mostly focusing on behavioral addictions. We'll get to talk about that. I'm also a new mom. And
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
A lot of sleepless nights, but laughter at the end of it all. I specialize in treatment, diagnosis of mental disorders, but within my years of practice, I found myself leaning more towards addiction management because of how popular or prevalent it's become. I also I also handle family and relationship issues. I'm working a lot with young people in schools. Also, because of my experience of being a new mom, I've been finding a lot of other moms who are dealing with perinatal or pregnancy-related issues reaching out. Yeah, so that's mostly it. We'll get to know each other more, but for today's purposes, I'll leave it there. But lovely to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, I've heard you talk about key issues, addiction, relationships. It looks like you'll have to come here several times. We may not be able to finish all the topics, but today we are looking at addiction. Maybe tell us more about, is addiction a problem in Kenya? Tell us more about this addiction.
Okay, I think it's good that for those who are wondering what addiction is, ideally, as psychologists, we define it as a relapsing brain disease that is characterized by compulsive behavior. You find yourself behavior or use. You find yourself using something or doing something repeatedly despite its obvious negative effects to you. So when it comes to it being a problem in the country, we are grateful that so many organizations, NACADA, World Health Organization, are doing research. And some of the information that I came across as I was doing research is that sadly, we have up to half of the drug users within the country are of ages 10 to 19. And I'd want us to take a moment to let that sink.
That has, even me, it has to sink. You said half of the drug users, drug abusers, and the common drugs you're talking about are which and which?
We're talking about currently with the young people are attracted to Velo. It's a nicotine patch. We have vapes. Cannabis has become quite popular. Of course, alcohol, and many more.
What of cocaine and others?
Yeah, cocaine. Only that maybe you'll notice they won't use it publicly, but we have others using cocaine. The list is long. Heroin, sadly. And as we go down the list, you'll notice another drug that maybe we may not call it a drug is social media.
Oh!
Everyone is on TikTok.
So then you might as well say over 50% of
maybe the number goes higher. Yeah,
it's higher.
The number goes higher.
So okay, so we are looking at. Then you are saying that half the statistics show that about half of the drug users are between which age? Children between 10 years
to 19 years. Sadly,
okay.
And it goes further. NACADA goes it further to break it down to 1 in 8. Now, when you consider all ages factored, that's maybe from, let's say, 10 to 65. 1 in 8 people are users or have consumed a particular drug, either alcohol or cannabis, within the country. And 1 in 20 are addicted.
Well, viewers, we just hope that we are not in that category. I hear that nowadays there are biscuits. I love biscuits, by the way.
Yeah.
And these biscuits and cookies look so nice, and they have cannabis, and people are buying them off the street.
Yeah.
How do we handle that?
I see. The thing I've realized about most Kenyans, we are very innovative. And interacting even with teachers in schools, most teachers, because you see, in my line of work, I find myself maybe handling discipline cases in schools, and sometimes it's drug related. Teachers will say while doing searches, they find things that look like pens, but upon further investigation, it's vape or nicotine.
A pen that looks like this?
Something that looks like a pen, but
yes,
they have drugs inside.
Okay.
So even the cookies, because you see, ideally within the country, we have laws that guide what's illegal and not. So because if you found smoking on the road, you might find yourself in jail. So we have to be innovative. Let's put it in cookies. Let's put it in chocolates.
And people say Kenyans are very creative and innovative.
Very creative, for right reasons, and sometimes, unfortunately, for bad reasons.
Wrong reasons.
Yeah, for the wrong reasons.
So what are your experiences about people who are abusing drugs, these children and youth?
Okay. What I'd say is I've come to notice, and I'm sure most of us viewers can relate, within every home, there's always someone who is struggling with addiction. And I usually say, if you can't find someone, maybe you need to look inwards. And the thing with addiction, even as I'm breaking it down, and this is a lovely conversation, you'll notice that as a psychologist, I'll try and break it down in a language that won't be too complex. We have two types. There's chemical addiction and behavioral addiction. So for those who use chemicals, that's alcohol and all that, you'll find after some time, if they get addicted, we might tell. We'll look at you and we'll see that maybe you're not chemmed. We'll talk about the symptoms of what to look out for. But the other dangerous addiction that most of us are struggling with is the behavioral ones, because now you're gambling away all the money. You're spending so much time on social media or on pornography sites. Who will know? No one can look at your forehead and tell that you're addicted to that. We also have those who are addicted to spending, shopping. We have addiction even to food, And I'm sure if Doc, you may have interacted with some patients, and you find maybe food is not a bad thing, but you can become addicted. So even as we unmask, you'll find that we get to understand, is it really a bad habit, or are you getting addicted? And at what point do you know you're now addicted?
So when you're talking of addiction, you cannot control yourself. You keep repeating that behavior. It affects your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know of a woman who wanted to divorce her husband because he was always on the social media. And she would joke that phone is now your wife. And me, I'm divorcing you. Are such cases happening?
A lot. And you see, the truth is, what people don't realize is when you notice a particular behavior is getting to a point where it's coming in between the things that matter to you. It's affecting your relationships with family. It's affecting your job. It's affecting your mental health or even your mood. Actually, I usually like to break it down and say, if you find yourself relying on it emotionally or for you to feel good frequently, you're likely to get addicted to that substance or thing. So with the phone issues, and right now we have an outbreak of divorces, and maybe, Doc, we can talk about that later and see how then do we also handle issues of marriage. But the phone, just like you mentioned, phone addiction or social media addiction is becoming a leading factor in a lot of relationships.
Yeah. I like the way you say we have an outbreak. I thought you were going to say an outbreak of flu or something, of divorces.
Yeah, and I'm sure most of our viewers relate with that.
Okay.
We know someone who is going through something, and probably,
So it looks like addiction. So which is the commonest addiction in your experience?
Okay.
Among these children and youth and in the society?
Okay, that's a really good question. So, like I mentioned, I work a lot with young people, even schools. So when you're looking at the demographics within young people, let's say high school to university going students, maybe that's from around, say, 10, as Nakada stated, or to up to 23, 24, we'll notice there's a lot of drugs because of the parties and lifestyle and peer pressure. There's alcohol, marijuana, there's the nicotine patches, Right now, I heard there's a new one called Oris. I'm yet to find out what
Oris.
it is. Yeah.
I should write that down.
Yeah.
Oris, yeah?
Yeah. So among older people, maybe older than from 25 and above, now this is the age where people are starting now to settle in terms of career and work. So you'll realize with the little salary you start getting, maybe after work or weekends, you decide, let me go spend some time with friends. So maybe 1 or 2 beers. 1 or 2, maybe a bottle or 2. And we know within the country, the adverts are always everywhere on billboards and all that. So you'll notice alcohol becomes a problem here. Most people start as social drinkers, but it gets to a point where it becomes an addiction, because then money that was meant maybe for rent was spent in the club or in the bar, or money that was meant for school fees or even projects. And something that I've noticed a lot of young people or people who are slowly creeping into addiction using is this term, I'm a functional alcoholic, or I'm functional. And maybe we'll get to see, are you really functional, or do you just have a job?
I'm a mental health specialist, actually. And, you know, your opinion, it definitely, it's very unique. And it adds, and I come across some people who just justify, no, I'm a functional alcoholic, or I'm a functional. But are they really functional?
Yeah. How well are you
That's
functioning?
the question.
Yeah.
Okay. So the commonest you talked about is it alcohol or cannabis, depending on...
Alcohol and cannabis, when you look at substances. And maybe I'll try to give this story very briefly.
Give a story,
I've had the privilege of, I usually say I've had the privilege of saving the lives of Kenyans one day at a time at a toll-free center. I won't be very specific where, but it's a place where most Kenyans have been reaching out for support in terms of mental health support. So I noticed within a day, because it's a trusted number, most Kenyans would call, and it worked 24/7. So most Kenyans would call, and they every day up to 30, 40. And one common trend that I noticed within the last 3 years is there was increase in number of people who are calling due to gambling related issues.
Okay.
So that means that maybe we need to do more research into seeing how bad it is. But we all know that every day, left, right, there's an advert on someone has won $1 million. But the truth is, so many people are losing money that is important to them. So many people are stuck in the cycle of debts and loans because of gambling. So it's become a problem, and unfortunately, it's leading to even suicidal ideations and some suicides. If you watch the news, I'm sure you might have seen some. So gambling is on the rise. We also have other hidden addictions, like we mentioned when we started. We have sex addiction, pornography, we have social media, and you see some of these addictions, maybe we won't see. You're the one who knows how you're going through it in secrecy. And those are some of the things that then make it more risky. Like I said, if I see you drinking frequently, I'll maybe take you to rehab. But how will I know what you do with your phone in the middle of the night? How will I know that all your money is going to gambling? So these are some of the issues you're dealing with, and that's why this conversation is very important.
So viewers, addiction is common, addiction is diverse. We have to examine ourselves and see, are we addicted? Some of us could be addicted to food. I think I know 1 or 2 people. But so I like the way you're explaining that addiction, if it interferes with your normal life, the money meant for your children's school fees goes, then you know there's a problem. The money meant for rent, then you know you need help. Now, tell us something. Are these people, can they really be helped?
Okay, that's a really good question, because I'm sure even as we're talking, it may sound like it's a story between the two of us, but in reality, this is something that so many of our viewers are resonating with. And actually, thank you so much for taking your time to listen to us. So now, maybe before we talk about help, I'd want to just briefly maybe give 1 or 2 tips. How do you know that I'm actually an addict?
Yes.
How is it becoming a problem? So I usually like to say this, and I say it as a joke. When it comes to, let's say, because maybe I didn't even mention, some people get addicted to work.
Oh, workaholics.
Workaholics, yeah. When it comes to a particular substance or thing that you do, if it ever gets to a point where you ask yourself, is it a problem? Most likely know that your instinct is telling you it's becoming too much. And this can be even with drinking. You can find You normally, when you drink with your peers, at the end of the day, maybe you'll finish the bottles, but when the rest go, you'll go hide and drink more. Or sometimes some of them will go back home and think they'll continue with the things they wanted to do, but then for you, all the money, you'll even go to the point where you even take debts to sustain this habit. So you notice already there's also preoccupation. You're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly wondering, how do I do without it? Then also, if you notice the family, the people that care about you are talking about it, they're asking you to quit, they're asking you if you have a problem, most likely it's become an addiction. So maybe as you hold on to that thought, we'll get back and now see if this is you, how then do you get support?
And I believe that this resonates with many of us, because sometimes you get carried away with work. I've even heard of people who, especially ladies, carried away, you're in Kesha every other day, and you're hardly home. So addiction, you can be addicted to anything. Wendy, I don't know if I'm right.
You can actually, because it's something that interferes with your brain reward system.
I see.
Yeah, it interferes with the brain reward system in the sense that something that would have been a normal behavior, it gets to a point where now
it's excessive.
It's excessive, it's excessive.
And you cannot
do without it, and there's no control. Yeah, thank you for breaking
including some of the games we like playing, Sudoku and all of these games. So viewers, we have to really examine, do we need help? And at what time and what kind of help are we going to get? So right now we are going to have a short break, and then we are going to come back, where Wendy is going to tell us the kind of help that we need, first of all to confirm whether we have a problem or not, and where we can go for help. So see you people soon.
Even when I walk through the storm, you never changed, but remained faithful, dear Lord. I thought it's over on my side, but you showed me it was not my end. When I had nothing left to give, Lord, you gave me strength to live again. Oh, faithful God, you never change. Yesterday, today, and forever. You never change. Every day, forever, you're the same. Inemi when we're on your side, woro maleher. Inemi kedon wa wanyi thindi, Baba.
Welcome back, viewers. We had a very important discussion, interesting discussion just today, just now, where we are told that addiction is common. There are many types of addiction. Even children are being addicted. So I'm going to ask you, Wendy, what are some of the challenging cases you have handled?
Okay. Thank you so much. Welcome once again. Thank you for staying with us, even as we discuss this conversation. So I'd say I've handled many cases, but I'll pick two that stood out. I remember there's a night I was doing a night shift at the toll-free center. And then a lady called in crying. And I remember how she was crying because she was in disbelief. It was a mother. And this mother was blaming herself a lot. She was like, I can't believe I failed as a parent. I can't believe I didn't see the signs. I can't believe this happened. And after, of course, offering emotional support and giving her room to talk, she explained to me how every time, because of how she got busy from work, she'll get home and give her son her phone, her 6-year-old son, six-year-old son, her phone to play with.
Android or a toy phone?
Her phone, her smartphone.
Android smartphone,
yeah, her smartphone.
Yes.
And she'll just take it as a break, maybe to relax and breathe in, and she knew maybe he was playing games. And then one day, that particular day when now she called, she decided to just take the phone and go through her history. And to her surprise or to her shock, her son has been watching pornography.
Oh my.
For years, for almost a year, the whole year.
A 6-year-old son.
A 6-year-old. And I remember even the shock, because you see, how else would you interact with such information? And of course, we got to see how bad it was, because she couldn't believe she missed the sign. So what then this means is, when it comes to addictions, especially the secret addictions, there's a role that everyone has to play. Yeah, and maybe I won't go into details, but that's one of the challenging cases I've handled. We were able to support and refer the son to even a child therapist, who then walked the journey with him. And then this other second story, and I'm going to be very brief, is a story that most of us would resonate with. Being in a home where maybe this is a client, a male client, 42-year-old. I won't give more details, but why I'll use this story is because this was someone who was in a long time in denial about the nature of his problem. It was a drinking, in psychology we call it alcohol use disorder. He had a drinking problem, but he kept on minimizing. The thing was, oh, I can still go to work, yeah? I mean, even if I drink 2 bottles, the next day I wake up fresh, I shower, maybe I toe a lock. For those who know what kutoa lock is, you resonate.
What is it, by the way?
Yeah, maybe actually to break it down is when you drink the whole night and the early morning you need to drink again just to jumpstart your day.
Kutoa lock.
Yeah, it's called kutoa lock. Yeah, if you know, you know. So he'd do that repeatedly. So then what happened was, every time people, especially the family and the mom, he was an only child, the mom would try to question, he'd be very defensive. So what happened was, staying in denial for so long, it got to a point where now, after periods of drinking, he developed liver cirrhosis. Because now the thing was, he was drinking secretly. And why I'm bringing this up is because you'll realize not every person who is struggling with addiction will look the same way. Not everyone will be on the streets, maybe dirty and falling in sewages. So this is someone who was well kept. If you looked at him, you wouldn't know, very smart. But then his organs were facing the harm, because he'd drink, and then every day he'd hide maybe a bottle in water, even at work. Then it got to a point now where he developed liver cirrhosis, and now it got to a point now where we needed to refer him for medical treatment. He's still in the journey of recovery, because you see, the thing with addiction, the recovery is lifelong, provided you're committed. And maybe Dr. of course, will get to discuss what recovery looks like and how you can get help. But those are some of the 2 challenging stories that I've handled and I'd like to share with all of us.
Wow. Liver cirrhosis. Yeah. You know, liver cirrhosis is we only have one liver and we can't get another one.
Yeah.
And if that liver is damaged, then liver does a lot of work for our health.
Yeah.
It means, you know, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've had challenging stories and success stories as well.
Success as well, so many success stories.
So many success stories. So at least there's hope for those of us out there, viewers, who are in addiction, whether it is pornography, whether it is gambling, and whether it is food, for that matter. We have experts here who can help us. Now, how do you manage addiction? A client comes to you today, I'm addicted, you know. What do you do?
Okay. I love how you've brought it and said that clients come. I wish everyone who's struggling recognizes that they need help. I usually like to say the first step, the biggest step in recovery is accepting that you have a problem. Accepting that you have a problem, and then now reaching out to the relevant sources where you can get support. So in cases where, now when it comes to managing addiction and recovery, some of the main goals usually is to try and help a person regain control. We look at how to reduce harm, and this is however much this particular substance or behavior has been affecting you, how can we reduce the harm in your life? We also look at something very key, and maybe if you're at home, maybe note this, what are the underlying issues? So when you look at underlying issues, you'll realize that most people drink for various reasons, and I break it down in 3 ways. PPT, people, places, and things.
Oh.
What are the people making you drink? What are the places?
Friends, the peer pressures and all that, yes?
Where are the places you hang out? Mostly, you can't say you want to recover from addiction, but you're always hanging out in the club, you see. So even the places, how they play a role, and then things. And when you look at things, childhood traumas, we deal with that. Many people have gone through stress, exactly, pressures from work, relationship issues. You know, Valentine's was just the other day. Some of us did not get flowers, maybe drinking. Yeah.
Some you got a bottle of wine or whiskey.
Exactly. Yeah. So we look at underlying issues, but the goal is for you to remain committed to the process, because in severe cases you need to go for detox, and actually will share where people can go for detox. And maybe you can even comment on that. Maybe those who have gotten to a stage where when you don't drink you're trembling, or when you don't use, your life is completely in a mess, you can go for detox. And then now there's the role of psychotherapy, and that is now where us as psychologists specializing in addiction we come in. Yeah, those are some of the resources, but Dr. maybe you can also talk about.
There's a patient who has a problem. He's drinking piles, and not just outside in clubs, but in where he works. In my experience, workplace friends are a big problem. Yeah, you don't know how to handle it, because you can say avoid avoid friends who drink, remove their names from their phone, and then you go to work and they're the ones giving. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so work again plays a major role, and maybe I think I've answered in terms of what we do. Before we end, maybe you let me know if I can share some of the resources or numbers where people can get help.
Yeah, but before we go to resources and numbers, I would like to take a few questions from people. Yeah. How important is the community in recovery? Because you worked on a toll-free line. That means you dealt with community. Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good question, and thank you viewers for engaging us and even for that question. You see, when I usually like to say addiction is usually a family disease, because when you look at someone who is maybe struggling and there's the financial implications, everyone in the family is affected. If you have a dad who drinks, school fees, even you're affected. Or if you as a student, you've been sent to school to study and your parents are waiting to see you graduate, and then on graduation day you're not on the list because you're drinking, it affects everyone within you. So what happens when it comes to community, I usually like to urge loved ones to be patient. Be patient with anyone who's struggling, because again, like we've emphasized, addiction is not a choice. It's a brain disease, and it requires rehabilitative treatment. So if someone has committed to go through the process of recovery, walk the journey with them, reduce stigma, reduce the blame game, reduce the reminders. Oh, you used to drink a lot, you finished parents, I know you can relate. So just try and see how you can surround them with love and empathy. Of course, we also have cases where loved ones enable. And when I talk about enabling is, I know you're still struggling, but I'm buying alcohol and I'm putting it in the fridge. So as loved ones, as family, just find a way where you can also do your own research. I usually say the internet is a resource, so that you can see how you can come in and support anyone who is in recovery, so that they don't feel shame and they don't feel like a burden.
Yeah, they say we are our brother's keeper.
Exactly.
So let's not just ignore your neighbor and say, that is a neighbor, I don't care, because tomorrow you'll be the one there.
True.
Okay, another question. Why do some people get addicted and others don't?
Oh, yeah. That's a question that I get almost everywhere I do trainings, especially on mental wellness. The truth is, there are so many factors that contribute to addiction. The major one that I like to put it out there is genetics. When you look at your family, have you noticed a pattern? Because you see, in Kenya, I don't think we've advanced to the point where we are doing genetic testing. Maybe if we are, it's expensive. So you wouldn't be able to know if you're predisposed. So genetics plays a major role. If your family is struggling with addiction, that means you wouldn't get addicted to cannabis if you never started. So if you've not started, don't start, okay? But if your genetics plays a role, we also have adverse childhood experiences. And those are experiences from childhood. Some of us, we lived in homes where there was chaos and fights every day. Yeah, those are some of the things. At what age did you start using? What is your environment? There are people who are raised by parents or loved ones who grew changa. You see, it's within the environment. So some of these factors contribute. And lastly, even your personality and even the role that you play in handling things that stress you. That means coping mechanisms can also play a factor in getting you addicted.
Wow, coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
So there's that genetics, the past trauma, and underlying stress.
Yeah.
Okay, another question coming. Can somebody be addicted and still appear successful on the outside?
Yes, you can. But the key term, appear.
Appear.
You appear
There are just
successful.
so many.
But behind the scene, you know what you're going through.
Yeah.
It's addiction is very dark. It's a very dark place to be at. And unfortunately, if you don't get recovery in time, we lose a lot of people by death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, you can look very okay, but you're addicted. And then maybe there are many questions, but I'll just take a few. How does peer pressure shape addictive behaviors in today's youth?
Oh, yeah.
It's an important one.
Yeah.
Peer pressure.
And we cannot talk about peer pressure minus social media. When it comes to peer pressure, especially among our youth, there's this competition. There's unnecessary competition, and that is who was seen hanging out at the latest joint. You know, the new restaurants and clubs opening up every day. There's also that pressure to look cool. And, you know, when you look at the underlying issue, sometimes maybe you didn't grow up confident. Or even right now, we look fun. It's very hard for you to separate fun without drugs amongst young people. So sometimes you notice you're young, you just finished school or you're in campus, but every time you hang out with your friends, if you don't drink, they look at you like you're boring. So you'll notice that's where peer pressure plays a role. And if you're struggling with that again, reach out. Because I can tell you for sure, you can be fun, you can be cool without using drugs or substances.
Yeah. And again, okay, maybe I'll add now as a mental health specialist that addiction, doctors have found that addiction causes some kind of brain damage.
Yeah, it does.
Like a lot of young people who are on social media so much, there are some functions of the brain that they are not able to do, especially executive functions. You know, as well as people who have not been addicted to social media. You know, it's research tested. So it's worrying because then you're going to have people who are older, but then they're not able to make proper decisions or be as creative, especially creativity and such. So for viewers, I think that's very important, that addiction is damaging our brain. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm thinking this is part one of our series because there's a lot to talk about. There are people who are asking about other forms of addiction. For example, what is common is this issue of the social media. I think it's addictive. And is it possible to actually stop or reduce that addiction? And then can we be addicted to healthy habits that are good for our body? You know, I like talking about that. For example, exercise or you know, eating by the church can be a problem.
In a way,
we need to be addicted, but yes, we need God in all these things, I believe. But I've also come across clients who are excessively religious to a point that it's damaging. They now don't even have time for their own families. They relocate and go and move in with a pastor, I don't know where, and it becomes now a different thing. So maybe just as we finish, I know you have a parting shot, but maybe before I give you the parting shot, I just need to say that naturally the way we were created, God created us so that there are some chemicals that are produced, happy chemicals, dopamine, which are the serotonin, happy chemicals, which we can make when we do healthy things, singing, exercise, you know, journaling, cycling. So there are healthy things that we recommend when we are doing holistic care. Do exercise, do games, laughter.
Spending time with
Singing.
loved ones.
By the way, I'm a singer. My art name is Auntie Maggie.
We need to
check my music there.
We'll need to check it out.
So singing, exercise, and some of these activities, and I think that will be the part 2.
Yeah.
What can we do to replace, to give us the happiness that we get, the high,
Exactly.
in a natural way, than going to dangerous things like alcohol and drugs and pornography.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should be part 2.
We will definitely, and maybe even as, and I like that at least Doc has shared with us that there are many things we can do, because you see the thing is sometimes we tell people stop doing it, but then they're like, what then do
What
we
is
do?
alternative?
Yeah, what do we? And you see with addictions you have to find a healthy replacement, otherwise your brain will pick it for you and you might find yourself moving from one addiction to another. So maybe as we head towards the end, I'd also like to just share my social media. My social media, you can find me on Instagram as Councillor Wendy KE. You just write Councillor Wendy, you'll find me. My contact is there. You can reach out. You can reach out so that we can be able to connect you. For those who are far away and maybe you're always thinking, therapy is expensive, you know, or maybe where you are, you don't have the resources to get immediate help, you can call NACADA. NACADA has a toll-free line, 1192 1192. Yeah, you'd be able to be connected to a counselor. Maybe we can help you or help you with the information that you need. And Doc, you said there's also a facility where people can go get...
Peponi Road Wellness Center, among some of the other facilities.
Yeah, among many others.
Many other facilities as well.
So help is available. Don't stay at home. Don't die in silence. Whether you're addicted or you're on the road to addiction, as long as you've engaged with us and you've listened to something and you notice this was a red flag, just take time and reach out for help. Help is available. Don't die in silence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And thank you very much, viewers. This is just part 1. But part 2, we are now going to talk more in depth on the different addictions and what could be done and ways to avoid them. Yeah? The holistic, we are recommending holistic care. Medicine alone is not enough. Therapy alone is not enough. We need to replace those addictions with healthy behavior.
Even the role of God.
The role of God. In fact, testimonies. Actually, we have a testimony that's going to come out. Just a clip after this one. A clip that will be shared also on podcast on a testimony of somebody who, through God and other ways that they have managed. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you so much, and see you next time. Ciao.
Bye.